Hello, my friends. Thank you for coming to play with the ideas that I present on my channel. As you know, I'm Gretchen Vogel. I've been a practicing psychic, mystic author for more than 4 decades. I wanted to share a little bit of our New England color with you in the background today. And I wanted to talk about soul rescue. I don't think I've done any videos on soul rescue on this channel yet. What soul rescue is for mediums on this side of the veil is conscious communication, which moves them perhaps to a different place in their progressive experience in their own personal afterlife. This was brought to my attention recently. Wow. Maybe I could have called this video When Psychics Meddle, M-E-D-D-L-E. An acquaintance of mine, more a friend of my husband's, partner self-transitioned. And because we're here with the living, we've been in support of the gentleman who lost his partner. I mean, we're on this side of the veil, right? And they're on that side of the veil. Well, the other morning, some automatic writing started, and I knew it wasn't me, and I knew exactly who it was. And let me think of her first sentence to me. I think it was something like, "Leave me alone," right? I knew immediately who it was. I took 3 pages of dictation from her, and she really needed to express her fury at the people who were being nice to her living partner. She was furious at the people that were being kind to him, because she felt that her story was being completely overlooked. Now, I know why she self-transitioned, but I don't think that's appropriate to share here. And then I started to think, well, who else have I worked with in the world of spirit that was furious? And I can think of 2 other people. One was a childhood friend. She is in the book, Choices in the Afterlife. Her name is Charlene. That wasn't her name, and that was actually her middle name. And she had worked her entire life at GE in Erie, Pennsylvania. She was months away from retirement, right? And she had pretty much sacrificed her whole life to building her retirement. And then she had a heart attack, and they could not resuscitate her. Immediately after, because I went down to Erie, it's where I'm from. She was a childhood friend. And at the wake and funeral, she seemed to be this ball of light. You know, I could sense her. She was a ball of light. But then when I came back home and I wanted to connect with her mentally, which obviously I can do, and I really cared about her experience, she was furious. She was so angry at being separated from her future by this sudden death. And then I thought of another person that I've worked with, and I've worked with, I don't know, I've never quantified my work, but for a while I was doing 2 to 3 readings a week for a couple of decades. So that adds up. Anyway, the other was a woman who, again, was an acquaintance. I was acquaintance with both her husband and herself. And she was killed in a car accident on Christmas morning. Her husband was in the car behind. They were going down to his parents for Christmas. And killed with her in the auto accident. They were hit head on a piece of black ice, which happens up here in New England. And you don't really perceive that it's ice, but the roadways can be very, very slippery just from a small amount of water, really. And her stepdaughter died with her. Her biological son was in the back seat. He suffered 2 broken legs, but he survived. Her 2-year-old baby girl was riding with her husband and another stepson. It was kind of a blended family. When I found her in spirit, she was in a ball of fury. And in fact, I wasn't even sure when I went out that this was Wendy, because I'm approaching this like dark mass with my angels who I trust to bring me to the person that I'm looking for. And she was just encased in this fury. And as I got closer and closer, I saw that she was like spinning in it. She was just trapped in her fury at being separated from her children in spirit. And she said her stepdaughter was doing much better than she was, that she understood the meaning of her short life and was at peace with her death. But the mother of the 2 children that were left here was so not at peace with her death. And so soul rescue from this side. Oh, and I can think of another example of a young man who had self-transitioned by gunshot wound. And he was also stuck in his transition. He wasn't as emotional as the other 3 people that I'm referring to, but he was stuck. And so I had to convince him that he was worthy of moving in a progressive sense to another experience in how he was creating his afterlife. And so part of soul rescue is understanding that the deceased are people too. We continue as ourselves with the tools, the mental tools that we have. We are greeted. And those greeters show us such love and inform us of how to begin to heal. So what is the thread between all of these 4 people who were still experiencing a lot of emotion in their continuation as consciousness, having experience as the identity that they were in the prior life, the story of themselves from the prior life, all right? With great emotion. Now, on the other side, there are legions of healers and helpers. And so somebody eventually can move people, but I can too, even from this side, reach out. And a lot of mediums do what we call soul rescue. The most beautiful story of soul rescue is the movie What Dreams May Come, and it has Robin Williams in it. Please access that movie if you can. It's very sad. Get your tissues out, not your popcorn. It's an incredibly sad story, but the soul rescue that's done on the other side by the woman's deceased husband in the story is really profound. And so this just illustrates how we do continue as ourselves. This is not to scare anybody, but what do all 3, 4 of these people, what did they all have in common? they all had a very sudden death. See, it's the suddenness of when our energies take flight. It's the suddenness of that that's disorienting for a while for people when they find themselves in spirit. And I think the reason for that, and this is just my guess, is that we are bundles of energy. You know, we think of it primarily as a body, mind, and spirit, but we're bundles of energy. We have energetic levels of the mind. We have energetic levels of the body. We have energetic levels of the consciousness. And so we're really in life here quite expanded. And well, it's always been said, bundles of energy. And so when these energies take flight in kind of the design of the approach to our transition and the transition itself, these energies leave or transmutate as we move everything in our mind to the world of spirit. Obviously, you know, mind comes with us, consciousness comes with us, memory, body. You know, mind is memory, mind in the near term is emotion. Now, what's interesting to me is that our endocrine system here is what makes emotion so much a part of our life. And I'll give you a tiny little example because I am beside myself with this. There have been 5 mother bears murdered in our immediate area in the last 2 to 3 weeks by hunters. And I say murdered because nobody has the right to kill a mother bear. So this area is crawling with orphan bears right now. Everybody's seeing them. Personally, I'm trying to trap because there is a rehab center in New Hampshire. Do you know that he has over 80 orphans now already to take care of? He does this with his family. His name is Ben Killam. He's very, I know, interesting name for somebody who rescues, right? But it's Killham. I've got to make a donation, clearly, to his work. And those of us in the neighborhood who understand that nature is sacred, that these animals are sacred, and have more rights actually to our forests than we do. But there's a lot of people around here who don't think that, who want to eat them. You know, I mean, we can eat soybeans. We don't have to eat bears. So this, for me, has been so hard emotionally. I mean, I am beside myself. And if I died right now thinking of orphan bears, I probably wouldn't be in my right mind. This is so disturbing to me. And so I completely understand how in the very near term, the deceased can struggle with the memory of emotion and a little chipmunk or something just went by. Maybe you saw it. I was photobombed. So what's the takeaway on this? You know, when we pray for our loved ones, particularly those who have had sudden deaths and auto accidents, in self-transitioning, in events of physicality, even unexpected deaths predominantly, they really need our prayers. We really need to send them love and healing energy from here as powerfully as we can, knowing that there is so much help from the other side. But, what am I going to do about these bears? I keep doing the Hawaiian prayer. I mean, I went up in our hayfield and I was singing it to the mountain because this is personally is just devastating for me. Hunting season is very difficult for me here. And there are countries that have outlawed it. But there's nothing left to kill in those countries. So, and I'm sorry to take up a little more of your time. Probably some of you have stopped listening by now. I was on the Jeff Mara podcast. I think it went up about a week ago. So please look me up there. He doesn't number them, or I would give you the number. But right now, I think he's done about 6 or 7 since mine. And it's an older picture of me. So good luck finding me. But I think what's been great about that is I'm meeting through communication, very like-minded, I mean, his community is great, which is why I wanted to be on his podcast. And now I'm connecting with his community and this community. So until I see you again, please be well and please be blessed. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.